Well, despite the wind, and despite the weather, and the fact that we were standing in early April weather in May, we did manage to get it up, get it down in one piece, and I would call it a success.
No, absolutely.
It
Yeah,
was.
It was definitely a success.
Yeah.
And as the evening went on, it got a little calmer.
Yeah.
A little more agreeable for flying, but
A little colder.
A little colder, but we were
But
still
it was
dealing
nice.
with 4-inch grass.
Yeah.
You know, it's not flying field grass. That's
No.
park grass, which it's fine for that. It's just about 4 inches tall, so it just
Well,
swallows the wheels up.
It acts like wheel chocks.
Yep. Yeah. And all you can do is lift the tail up and down.
And then
So,
clean off a little area.
yeah,
where the
cut a little
prop
bit of
is.
grass. There's green on the tips. There's no
Yes,
doubt
there
about
is.
it. So,
Yeah. That's all right.
but we had the volleyball sand pits.
Yes,
Couple
we
of
did.
those.
Yeah.
And it was hard as a rock.
They were
so
hard
it
as a
was,
rock.
Kick the errant energy drink bottles that people stuffed rocks in and threw in the middle of the sand. Get those out of the way, and then your runway's clear. You guys have to do a pre-check in your runway.
Well, sure you
anyway.
do.
Even in the bush, you're supposed to
Yeah.
walk down the. So
Well,
that was part of the scale process.
Sure,
the
it worked out
prototypical
well.
process. Let's jump into the scoring.
Let's do it. Build as advertised. Model characteristics. Build as advertised. 4.5 out of 5.
Yeah. As you can see on the assembly video, it went together very easily. A lot of pre-assembled parts, tons of pre-assembled stuff. Phillips screwdriver is all you need, and beyond what they include in the kit, of course you're going to need your transmitter and your battery and all that, and your charger, receiver. You'll need a receiver for it as well, since it's a receiver ready. But it's really a fast assembly. You will be doing a little more adjustment on the linkage, which I talk about in the assembly video. You don't have to. If you want symmetrical throws on your control surfaces, and yes, do it the right way. Sub-trim your servos first, locate your position your control surfaces, bind in your linkage, and then you're off and running. But we walk you through that. But even if you do the more technical approach, it doesn't take any time at all. It's a very quick assembly.
All right, finish. 4 out of 5.
Yeah, I mean, overall, as foamies get, the best we typically give is 4, unless it's just knocks you down with some really unique feature. However, this is so complete when you get it. The stickers are already applied, no bubbles and lifting of the stickers at all.
Yeah.
They're on there really well. And a nice combination of stickers and paint. So you have a lot of the accents that make it look that much more prototypical.
Yeah.
It looks good overall.
Yes, it does. Power, 5 out of 5.
Yeah, the Permax 3530 motor that they have, 1100 kV motor, is more than enough. And I can't recall if it's on the flight video or not, but I mean, one takeoff went pure vertical.
Vertical, yeah.
Yeah, it was
Pretty much.
had too much flap down, just trying it out on
Well,
a takeoff, and boy, she got some balloon
Taking
going
off
in
at a 35-mile-an-hour headwind.
Yeah, right when the gust came in, and it went straight up, and it climbed out of it just fine. So
Yeah.
it has a ton of power.
Well, it gave you plenty of altitude to trim it out.
But not too much to where and we've talked about this before. You get the right balance of power on a power plant, and you can back off the throttle then for most of your flying if you're doing more scale flying. And then you aren't chewing the battery, so you get good run times because you have the extra power. And some people say, "Oh, it's overpowered. It's too much power. It's not going to get good run times." No, it's all directly proportional to how easily it flies the aircraft at half power, half throttle, and this does a great job. You're going to be zipping around on the Pilatus at half throttle all the time if you're just doing scale flying. So,
Ground handling, 4 out of 5.
4 out of 5. It's the big flaps are nice. We've had a lot of people that have purchased the Fun Cub, and we're huge fans of the Fun Cub. Oh, I love how it flies. It's great. Well, it's a Cub. It is a Cub. It has extremely generous wing area, and as a result, extremely low wing loading for the airframe. The Pilatus is more of a scale aircraft. It's almost kind of like it kind of feels like a Cessna in terms of some Cessnas. In terms of people always think, oh, a Cessna's a trainer. Well, that's not necessarily the case. It's more challenging to fly, especially smaller ones that don't have flaps in them. You get a little higher wing loading, and they don't feel as good. They want to stall out easier on you. The Pilatus has a very scale feeling in terms of its lift, its general lift characteristics, also its stall characteristics. So you're going to want to play around with the flaps and get used to them, and don't expect to be doing those crazy, almost cartoonish Fun Cub moves where you throw the flaps 90 degrees and aim straight for the ground and just kind of flare out and land. This is the fun stuff we've done with that. This isn't going to behave the same way, but overall, you get in ground effect. It behaves well. It has a nice long wingspan. It is rather short coupled, which you can see from the aircraft's profile. So there's going to be those tendencies that go along with a shorter coupled airframe. But it behaved well. And considering the winds we had today, especially if you move your CG slightly forward, we got better results then. So,
all right, durability, 4 out of 5.
Overall, it's built well. A lot of carbon fiber. and give points. You know, you notice the giving in the landing gear.
Well, there aren't really any fragile pieces on this, as far as
Not at all.
that'll be susceptible
And
to hanger rash.
it's Elipore. We know how tough Elipore is.
Yep.
Elipore can take a lot of abuse.
Yes, it can. A lot. Pilot experience, flight is advertised, 4.5 out of 5.
Yeah, I mean it flies very well. It's very stable. It's very powerful. It cuts a nice line. It's going to sink a little more through the turns on you. You do have good rudder authority. Rudder's definitely not a problem at all, so you can flatten those turns out. And you can keep yourself on more knife edge maneuvers and not lose a lot. You know, it overall is an enjoyable experience. It's a lighter aircraft with a little. It's a lighter aircraft. It's a smaller aircraft with a little higher wing loading, not necessarily or not excessively, but just a little higher wing loading. So you're going to want to be conscious of that. I hate to make that a summary of its flying characteristics because that doesn't explain it for people who are considering going into the model. But this is not a beginner's plane. This is not a trainer by any means. So you're going to want to have your 4-channel flying down comfortably before you jump into it. And we'll get into the skill piece. But if you take some skills into it, you can fly it on a windy day. Much more enjoyable on a more calm day.
Sure.
But it's a good flying aircraft overall. It doesn't have any standout negative tendencies.
Mm-hmm.
So it falls in that big range of it's good. You know, it's in the yes category. There's the and there's the yes. It's in the yes category, absolutely. So.
All right, flight time, 4.5 out of 5.
4.5 out of 5. We get, like I said, we can stay about half into the throttle, and you'll get really good run times out of it. We got 7-8 minutes comfortably on a 2250. This airframe will handle up to a 2700. I can expect that you could drive that even further. A little more weight, so you're going to be into the throttle a little more probably to keep it aloft. But I would still say you'd add a solid minute and a half plus 2 minutes if you went to a 2700 versus a 2500, and maybe even 3.5 minutes if you jumped up from a 2250. So.
All right, field size, large park.
This is a very large park. This is at the edge of park flying. Yeah. Of a true park flying, class airframe. So you're going to want to be mindful. What we're under, we're 49. We should be at 48. So wingspan we're slightly over for the classification, at least by AMA. Speed-wise, we're well under 60 miles an hour. So, it's a large park. I would take it to a flying field or large private property or a very large park that does endorse or promote electric RC flying.
Sure.
We wouldn't take this to your local backyard park and say, "Oh, hey, get your dogs off the, out of the field area. I'm going to fly." It's just too much weight and power there. So.
Yeah. Portability, 4 out of 5.
You really can't, even though they've put these little slip pins or little pins in the wing struts or wing supports, and that does pop off easily. When you go through the assembly, you're going to realize you get all these wires, flaps, ailerons dumping down through, the root pockets for the wings, and going in and depending on whether you route forward and we mounted our radio in the center section, which was a little more difficult. We had to go up through the vent hole, but it's not going to be practical to disconnect and connect those wings all the time. So you're going to leave it connected. 49 inches is going to fit in the back seat of just about every vehicle out there. So. If you could pop those wings off and be a little easier without all the wire routing, it makes it that much more portable. But it's it's what you'd expect.
Sure.
It's park flyer portable.
Well, it's not. It's just not a big feeling plane.
No, not at all.
All right, skill level, intermediate.
Yeah, it's a 6-channel, 7-channel plane. Depending on how it's a 6-channel functional plane. You've got power plant, elevator, ailerons, rudder, and your flaps. So it's 5 plus your power plant, of course, add your 6th channel on there. You can Y off your ailerons. The flaps, however, are oriented as such, it's an important note, they're oriented as such that you can't run those off of a Y adapter or they're going to be operating in opposite directions. Yeah. So you need to run those exclusively to their own channels. You can do it with a 6th channel. You're going to Y off your ailerons, though. Do it with a 7-channel, you can run every single one of them on their own channel and then sub-trim them independently, which I kind of like. Yeah. But it's more complex. There's more going on. Sure. You've got flaps to deal with, and the flaps significantly affect the flight characteristics of this plane. Not so much from a pitch perspective, but you feel a little bit of mushiness kick in. Yeah. So that's going to add a little bit more skill to the flying or the pilot requirements on this plane. But sure. If you've got a 4-channel trainer down, don't hesitate. Go for it. Knock yourself out. Have fun. All right, I will. Fly Sherpas up on the side of a mountain. Push them out the window. Whatever you want to do. Whatever you do to Sherpas. Yeah. However you take Sherpas up a mountain. I don't know. I think they climb. I think they use yaks or something like that. I haven't studied them in a while. You don't have any close buddies?
No.
Nobody. You don't have them on your friends list, Rob?
No, and that's funny you say that.
Yeah.
Because I don't even have a friends list.
Rob doesn't even have Facebook.
No.
Oh man, old
No.
school. That wraps up our review of the Pilatus Porter. If you'd like to see the full review, you can go to our website at tobefly.com. For our mobile users, you can go to rcflightsource.com. Download the mobile app and take our content with you on the go. I'm Kurt with Two Brothers Hobby.
And I'm Rob. Thanks for watching.